For this one, we're going to talk about the mysterious ley lines. Now, I can only give you about this much, so if you're interested, go ahead and look into it. So, what if I told you that there were lines that cross and crisscross the Earth that connected important locations? Or if you were to plot these sites on a map, a very curious thing becomes apparent, that many of them, they're connected by straight lines. Lines that are imbued with deep power and electromagnetic energy, which connects sacred and important sites throughout the world. These lines, they're called ley lines, or Mother Earth's veins. In fact, many people believe that a grid of Earth's energy circles the globe, connecting important and sacred sites such as Stonehenge, Machu Picchu, Chichen Itza, the Egyptian pyramids, the Great Wall, and the list goes on. The average length of a ley line is 20 to 30 miles, but this can vary from only a few feet to hundreds to thousands of miles. For some, ley lines explains the power of certain places on the planet, and for others, it's just a coincidence. And I also wanted to note that many cultures around the world have known about these lines for thousands of years, and they have their own names for them. The indigenous shamans of North America, they called these ley lines spirit lines. The Druids, they called them mystical lines. The Chinese, they called them dragon lines, and the First Nations people in Australia called them dream lines. According to the Chinese art of feng shui, every building, every tree, every object, everything should be in a position of harmony with the Earth's magnetic and spiritual energy fields. And it's believed that the dragon current, or the Earth's magnetic field, flows in the grid of the ley lines. But the Western world's rediscovery of these lines happened in 1921 when a photographer named Alfred Watkins noticed straight lines that connected ancient sites in certain areas of the United Kingdom. At one point, Alfred drew a straight line from the southern tip of Ireland to Israel, which he claimed connected 7 different locations that included the name Michael in some form, and it was termed as St. Michael's Ley Line. Of course, no one has found any hard proof of the energies of these lines, and some people believe that ley lines are used to guide alien spaceships to planet Earth, or maybe they're just used for navigation, who knows. I did read that there are 3 US sites that are listed as primary active sites for vortexes that are created by the ley lines, and those sites are Sedona, Arizona, Pyramid Lake, Nevada, and Orla, Texas. Now, Earth has its own magnetism, so maybe ley lines are just the imaginary lines along which the magnetism of the Earth flowed. But what about the significant concentrations of disappearances in the 12 key locations on the planet? And yep, you guessed it, one of them is the Bermuda Triangle. I read that if a person sits or lies over a ley line for an extended period of time, they'll become hyperactive. And if that ley line happens to be negative, the negative aspects of extra energy will manifest itself as tension, depression, headaches, and illness. Now, regardless of what you believe, the concept of ley lines have captivated people for decades. Now, what do you believe?